Hello everyone and welcome back to Couple Books. This is Couple. As always, as you always see, there's been a slight little bit of a change up in this channel. I finally got a haircut. Story time. Basically, I've been in lockdown for like months and months and months, and then the second I get out of lockdown, we go back right into lockdown. So I've been not cutting my hair for almost 9 months to a year, and then finally we were out of lockdown for a third time, and I was like, I need to get my hair cut. So I have my hair cut. So the gorgeous locks are gone. I am no longer tangled, but that's okay because Rapunzel has her own story and I've got my own personal story. So Rapunzel can have her own thing and I can have my own thing. So since the locks are gone, today we're doing a fun kind of video. I haven't done these types of videos before, but I'm gonna probably, maybe, possibly, it's not for sure thing, but most likely, we are going to be doing a why you should be reading this author type of video, where I'm going to basically find authors that I love. After I read a few of their works, I'm going to be like, why should you read this author? And then I'm going to present why I think you should read these authors. And yeah, so that's the story. Today, we're doing a fun video, and we're going to be doing why you should be reading Paul Tremblay. Paul Tremblay is one of my new all-time favorite authors out there. And I just wanted to go into a few of his works that I've read and then also tell you guys why you guys should be picking him up. To start off, let's go through the 3 books I've read of his. I have read Cabin at the End of the World, I have read A Head Full of Ghosts, and I just finished, like 2 days ago, Disappearance at Devil's Rock, all by Paul Tremblay. This guy is an amazing writer. And when I say amazing writer, I mean I love his characters. His characters are all unique and different. Each and every single book he's written is unique and different, and as well, in addition to all that, he also is writing more. There are 2 more books by where he and Titan Books are partnered up. I do believe there is Survivor's Song, which will be thrown up on the screen right here, and then as well Growing Things, which is a collection of short stories. So I have those 2 books on their way to me hopefully very soon. So I will hopefully have completed pretty much everything Paul Tremblay's wrote. I think he's written 1 or 2 other things, but outside of that, I think that's pretty much mostly everything he's written to date. He's got more books on his contract, so we are going to be getting more Paul Tremblay. Not only is he a great author because you're going to be picking up books that are already published, and he already has quite a few books out there, but in addition to all that, he also will be writing more books. So we are sure to have Paul Tremblay with us for a little bit longer. I absolutely adore his work. So with that, let us get into a little bit of the synopsis of each of these books before I get into specific reasons in general why I think you should be picking them up. A Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay is basically about these 2 guys who are, I think they're married. I don't know if they're married. They might just be dating. No, I think I'm pretty sure they're married. So these 2 guys who are married and their adopted daughter Wen go up to the cabin to do like a little bit of a getaway. And when they get to the cabin, they are confronted by these strangers that they've never met before. And these strangers basically believe that the end of the world is coming, and they might need to do a little bit of bad things to ensure that it doesn't happen. And so these people basically get a home invasion type scenario by these strangers that they've never met before. That's this book. A Head Full of Ghosts is a very interesting book. It basically follows another family. This is in suburban America, where the father believes that his daughter, who is suffering from possibly schizophrenia, possibly some mental illness, is actually possessed. In which case he contacts his local priest and he says, my daughter's possessed, and the priest basically comes in and tries to figure out what's going on with her, and it ends up evolving into a TV show where they're going to be bringing in a network to basically like document this family's life as their daughter deals with this possible possession, possible schizophrenic situation that's going on here. No one really knows what's going on. It's either she's schizophrenic or she's being possessed by a demon, and you don't really know what's happening. And then the last book, the book I most recently read, is The Disappearance at Devil's Rock. This is about 3 best friends. They're young, they're like 13 or something like that, and they go into the woods quite often to go hang out at this stone. This stone is called Devil's Rock. It's normally known as Split Stone, but they got it renamed into Devil's Rock, and it's basically this massive boulder that has a huge crack down the center of it, and this boulder is where these kids like to go and hang out. It just so happens that one night when they sneak out to go drink some beers at the rock, they come back and one of them is not with them anymore. One of them ran off into the woods and we don't know where he is. We don't know what happened to him. All we know is that he's gone missing. And so of course, obviously, the parents of the two kids and the parents of the missing kid all get together and try and figure out what happened. And then they also eventually end up getting the police involved, and it's basically a massive like possible child kidnapping, child missing situation where they're trying to figure out where did the kid go and what happened. And while this is happening, you uncover more of the history through flashbacks of what was going on at Devil's Rock and what these kids were into and what was going on there. And it was extremely bone-chilling. These are the 3 books I read by him, and I loved pretty much every single one. I think they're all between the 4 and 5 star range. I really think that they're all great books. And then in terms of favorites, this is definitely a favorite so far, followed up by Head Full of Ghosts, and then lastly, Cabin at the End of the World. Every single book I read by Paul Tremblay, I love more and more than the last one. He's an absolute fantastic writer. So, why should you be reading Paul Tremblay, in my personal opinion? You guys need to be reading Paul Tremblay for a few reasons. Number 1, he writes so well. Like, his writing style is on par. I really have no issues reading his writing style. I've never had any issues at all reading his writing style. Number 2, his storytelling is amazing. Like, there's some authors, I'm not going to name any here, but there's some authors who I feel like kind of repeat the same, and their story elements or their characters are kind of the same from story to story. Like, they may write an entirely different story, but it's got similar characters from the previous book, or they write an entirely new characters, but it's kind of in a similar kind of story elements with like the cliffhangers and the plot twists kind of being predictable to some degree because you've read one of his books, so you've kind of read all of his books, him or her. You've read him or her's books, and then you've read all of him or her's books, if that makes sense. Paul Tremblay I've not had the situation with. Every single book's different. Every single book's unique in the sense that I can never predict a plot twist. I can never predict if there's going to be plot twists at all. Like, some of his books are straightforward. Some of his books have insane like cliffhangers and plot twists in the middle of the book that you're just not expecting. Third reason I think you need to be reading him is that he's a great, fantastic introductory author for those who are looking to get into horror or mystery books. Why do I say this? Because his books have the slightest, tiniest bit of a sprinkle, fairy dust of horror elements. His books, at the core of them, are all kind of suspense thrillers, but they all kind of have a little bit of supernatural horror elements that are sprinkled in, but they're not sprinkled in the sense that they're actually factually there, present in the story. It's more like it's debatable whether or not they're present in the story. For an example, let's say your child goes missing, you might see a ghostly apparition of your child in your bedroom. Is this the mom going crazy, or is this actually a ghostly apparition? No one can really tell. So that is Paul Tremblay's works. They're the supernatural elements are just kind of slightly sprinkled in to the point that like you don't know if they're really there. It kind of gives room for debate. These make great book club books because you can literally sit there and debate whether or not the supernatural elements are real or not for hours on end. I love it because of that, mostly because I can sit there and I ponder it for like literally like the last line of every single book. I'm like, what's going on? Is this real or is this not real? And you don't know. You honestly don't know what's happening, if like what he's writing is like a real thing, or if it's just like us being crazy, or if the author's being crazy. Who knows? Someone in this situation is crazy, and it's not me. It's probably me. So you need to be checking out Paul Tremblay for those 3 reasons. 1, his writing style. 2, his unique storytelling. And 3, his fairy dust of horror elements. And I really love it. And honestly, I think anyone who's looking to get into horror, this is a great place to get started. I would highly recommend picking up Disappearance at Devil's Rock first, or A Head Full of Ghosts by him first, to kind of get into a groove of who he is and his writing style. But after that, I think you guys are going to be good to go, and I think you guys are going to love his works. An absolutely fantastic author all around. And yeah, that's today's video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'm hoping to see you guys in the next video. But if you guys are still here, be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. As well, why don't you guys hit the subscribe button? But that's optional, of course. And with that, I'll be seeing you guys in the next video, won't I? Bye now.